What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to Gizmo for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. Leaves a note saying, thanks for all you do. I will give more next time. Well, that has nothing to do with the amount, you know what I'm saying, that you donate. It's just the thought, you know what I'm saying? It's just, just to even be able to, you know what I'm saying, have people to show love to you like that, for the hard work you try to do on YouTube, you know what I'm saying, that's just enough. Even if it's $1, you know what I'm saying, even if it was just 10 cents, it would mean so much to me, you know what I'm saying, for people to take time out and show you they appreciate the content I put out there. It's much respect to you. So I didn't get a chance to talk about this game yesterday. And that was the game between the Sixers and the Knicks. The Knicks are the second seed. They won 50 games this year. Jalen Brunson put this team on his back the last month of the regular season. If I'm not mistaken, I think he averaged an incredible 35 points a game the last month of the NBA season, from March 14th until the conclusion of the year. 35 points a game, 7 assists, 49% shooting, I think 40% from downtown, 87% from the line. I mean, just amazing numbers. But can always depend on one guy having a great game. You got to have other guys step up. One guy can't always just give you 35 to 40 points every game. It's just not going to work if you want long-term success. The Sixers are a team that was expected to be contending for the number one seed. And Joel Embiid, who won the MVP last year, was having an even better season. He was having, in fact, a historic campaign before he went down with an injury. I think it was back in January. And while he did come back eventually, he's clearly not 100%. He suffered a meniscus tear, which is something that can't heal on its own, but he's clearly still having problems with that knee. And, in the play-in, he looked very ginger, looked very overly cautious. This game, he appeared to be a little bit more aggressive, but that aggressiveness may have cost him a little. And I'll get into that later on. Of course, the New York Knicks wound up winning this game by a final score of 111 to 104. They take a 1-0 lead in this best of 7 first-round series. And one of the telling things about this series is if Joel Embiid is healthy or relatively healthy, I'm not talking about Joel Embiid 70 points in a game healthy. I'm talking about just healthy enough to be able to put up a consistent 25 and 10. The Sixers, I think, would have a slight edge in this series. But the problem is Joel Embiid's health may not, it may not last. It may not last. And they may have to come down to a decision, the Sixers, of sitting him. And if that's the case, if they have to sit him, then I think the Knicks are going to win this series. And it may even be a sweep. One of the telling stats was that when Joel Embiid was on the floor for the Sixers in this game, they were a plus 14. When he was on the bench, however, they were a minus 21. So that indicates that they have issues with scoring. Now, of course, Tyrese Maxey is going to score the basketball for you. I mean, he's taken a huge leap in his game. I think he had 33 points on 14 or 26 overall shooting. So Tyrese Maxey, who has already gotten into the mode of being aggressive since the absence of Joel Embiid, he's already in that mode. So, he can get you 50. I mean, he's did it 3 times this year. But outside of him, man, where's the consistent scoring? I mean, Nicholas Batum, who had a tremendous game in the play-in with 20 points and 5 rebounds, I think he only had 3 points on 1 of 4 shooting. And Tobias Harris Let me see something here. Let me see if I can pull up Tobias Harris's numbers right quick. Tobias Harris, just a couple of years ago, with the Clippers, was a guy averaging almost 20 points a game. Uh, Last couple of years, he hasn't been the same. This game, he had 7 points in 31 minutes of play, although he did have 9 rebounds. Joel Embiid had 29, 8, and 6. But you wonder how long he can sustain that. He suffered. He tried to go for a dunk, which I think was ridiculous, considering his knee issues. And he seemed to re-aggravate the knee situation that he's already dealing with. So you got to think that in the next game he's going to be once again passive. Kyle Lowry did have 18 points, so he was very, very effective in this ball game. But the difference in the game to me, everything I just said, but one of the key differences is offensive rebounding and rebounding in general. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Knicks had a 23-9 advantage on the offensive boards. And you're not going to win too many ball games with that sort of disparity in the offensive rebounding. The Knicks already led the NBA in offensive rebounding with 12.7 a game. But, I mean, when it gets to a point where I think Josh Hart had 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 of his 13 rebounds were offensive rebounds, which means that he just had 2 less than the entire Sixers team, then that's a problem. Hartenstein had 6.7 rebounds. Jalen Brunson only had 22 points on just 8 of 26 shooting, but McBride had 21, Bogdanovic had 13, Dante DiVincenzo didn't have a great shooting night. Mitchell Robinson had 8 points and 12 rebounds. When you get this type of production from others, OG Anunoby with 11 points, when you get this type of production from others, well, that can make up for when a guy's not having a good night offensively. Even Jalen Brunson had 7 rebounds. So the Sixers definitely got to make some type of adjustment when it comes to aggressiveness on the boards. If they want to be even effective in this series, or it's going to be a very, very short series. And look, I'm trying to show some compassion for Joel Embiid, man, but there's a part of me that want to say, look, man, this guy just can't be an effective NBA player, man. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but what I mean by that is he wears down every year. Look, one time could be an anomaly, 2 times could be a fluke, but when this happens like 5, 6, 7 years in a row, then that's a pattern. And since 2018, every year, Joel Embiid has an injury or something that affects him in the postseason. And at some point in time, we just got to come to the conclusion that Joel Embiid just does not have the body that can go through the grind of an 82-game schedule. Some of it might be conditioning, obviously, but some of it just might be genetics, man. It's just something with this guy. It's possibly his weight. He probably weighs too much for his frame. By that I mean, look, Will Chamberlain was 7'1", and at the end of his career, 315 pounds. But that was his natural, frame. Even though he was 315, he didn't look like he weighed 315 pounds. The guy had a sculpted body, you know what I'm saying? His body could contain that weight. Kareem was 7'2", at the end of his career, about 250, 260. But he didn't look that heavy. Joel Embiid looks heavy. They say he's 285, man. Maybe Joel Embiid may need to slim down to 260 or something, man. I don't know what the case is, but I know that he seems to have the same problems. And a lot of times his it's like knee issues and leg issues and ankle and feet. When that happens a lot of times, man, when you're a center, a lot of times it's either you're carrying too much weight, or it's just that your body's just not made to withstand the rigors of an NBA season. That's just what it is to me, man. That's just what it is to me. Anyway, tell me what you guys think.